Hi y'all and welcome to Her World KK. I'm KK. Just to give you a little bit of background on who I am, my name is Kalina Knox. I got my start competing in pageants when I was a teen. I kind of dabbled in it a little bit, but I really started learning about pageants first competing in the local Miss America circuit. I went on to the Florida USA system. I won Miss Palm Beach County USA. Then I competed in Miss District of Columbia USA, where I was a semifinalist, and then I won Miss Florida International. I went on to the Miss International pageant, where I was a finalist. So I kind of have like a gamut of different experiences from different systems. So today I wanted to talk about something that's kind of been on my heart lately. I've been noticing that there's just so much, I don't know if it's on your Google or if it's just mine because I'm a former pageant girl, but I'm noticing so much news in the press about pageants and pageantries and queens, and it just really got my wheels turning and made me think of what it was like when I was competing and what the girls now must be going through. And it kind of made me say to myself, what were the things that I know now that I wish I knew before I had gone into my first pageant week? So we're going to do that today. So I'm going to tell you guys my top 5 wish I would have known, the things that you're not going to get coached into, the things that your coaches are going to forget to tell you, that your sister queens, if they've already gone, they may not think to tell you, just things that you would experience, and you're gonna know what I mean. You guys, I was gonna do it in no particular order, but I'm going to do 1 through 5, 1 being the least severe and 5 being the most important thing. So guys, make sure you wait till you stay to the end. Get comfy, get something to drink, get your notepad, and yeah, let's go. When you get ready to go to your first pageant week, you're doing all of these things. You're already beautiful. All the girls are beautiful girls, but you're doing things that are kind of finishing your look. So one thing that a lot of girls invest in is their smile. So what I'm noticing is, or what I recall is, we would kind of wait till a few weeks before the pageant. Some people the weekend before the pageant would get their smile brightened. Either they would have their crest white strips, or they'd see a professional, or they would get fitted like I did with my own personal trays and do the whitening at home. And what that does is it creates a porous surface in your enamel, so your teeth are more readily absorbing dyes, colors. They leach more into your teeth. So you're going to spend all this money getting your Zoom whitening or whatever you're doing, and they're going to actually pick up dyes and colors if you're not careful during your pageant week. During pageant week, you're going to dinner, you're going to lunches, you're going to theme parks, and sometimes you're just trying to get the food in quickly so you can get to whatever it is next, or so that you can just talk to your sister queen next to you. But I wish someone would have told me to be careful in regards to taking care of my whitening. You don't want to spend and then go see your judge and you have a yellow hue because you went to a theme park the day before and you quickly got some kind of sausage or the park hot dog with mustard and you bit into it. So carry a straw. When you can, drink out of a straw during pageant week, and make sure you stay away from things that have a lot of color in it. Instead of a Coke, get a Sprite. Try to drink as much water as possible, but it's pageant week. What can you do if you go somewhere and you're wine tasting or something like that? Instead of red wine, white wine. Take care of your teeth, and if you can avoid things that can ruin your smile, dark drinks, Coca-Cola, coffee, mustard, red sauce, please do. Number 2, the blisters. So during pageant week, it's not like your normal appearance. When you go to an appearance and you go to see another of your sister queens crowned, if you go to another pageant, you're sitting. So you walk in, you're taking your pictures, you're socializing, you're meeting other directors and other traveling queens who are there for the event, and then you sit down for a couple hours, and then maybe you stand between intermissions. Or if you go to something in your local government, or you go and meet with children or volunteer, you're wearing the appropriate shoes. However, during pageant week, everywhere you're going, unless you're doing a sporting event, you are going to be in heels. So if you're in heels all day for several days at a time, depending on if your pageant week is just a weekend, if it's 4 days, if it's 7 days, if it's 14 days. You want to make sure that you prepare your feet. There is different things that you can use to protect your feet. When I was competing, I remember seeing blisters, I saw blood, I saw young ladies bandaging their toes, trying to protect their toes so that they wouldn't get calluses and corns. I saw bloody heels, I saw mangled ankles. And I'll make sure I link all these things below, but there are several products that you can use as far as your inserts. Gel toe protectors. They're gel caps that you can slip on your toes to protect your toes from any type of friction from your shoes. And even if your shoe is the right size, if you're walking back and forth, you're going to have some level of rubbing, and you don't want that on your toes. It can, the marks that it puts on your toes are forever, so even after the pageant, you're still going to have to deal with that. And then there are the gel inserts that you can put on the back of your shoe to protect your ankles. There are also sprays that you can use to prevent or kind of numb your feet from the soreness and the pain that you're going to deal with throughout the week. People don't take into consideration, it should be blocked off on your schedule, but if not, I'm just letting you know you're going to have rehearsals. During a big pageant, you're going to have a show, and guess what? You're the show, so you're going to dance during opening number. You're sashaying back and forth across the stage, creating formations. You're dancing in these shoes, and you're also modeling. You're doing your walks back and forth. You have to practice your walk for evening gown. You have to practice your walk for opening number. You're doing your walk for swimsuit. If you have fun fashion in your system, then that as well. So it's a lot of walking that you're going to be doing all day, because you're going to run these rehearsals for hours at length, and it's a lot of walking back and forth, plus the normal walking that you're going to do from your room to the elevator, the stairs, down the hall, in the lobby, in the foyer. So you want to make sure that you have all of the gear that you need to protect your feet. And there are other things you can do, and maybe I'll do a video on how to get your shoes ready for pageant week, because there is an art to it. When I was competing in, I remember Miss International, girls were seeing like my little tricks, and they're like, oh my god, I didn't know you could do that. And I remember the next day when we had finals night, the girls were doing the same thing, and we were all on par with getting our shoes ready, or they had already done it in their room, and it was just a great thing. So I may do a video on that. Comment below if you guys want to know how to get your shoes ready for pageant week, and maybe I'll do a little video on that. It'll be a quick one, but it's good. It's really useful information. But yeah, number 2 is definitely getting your feet ready for pageant week. Speaking of injuries and unsightly stains, during pageant week, there is this thing, it's kind of, okay, so I'll just go right out and say it. It's period gate. So during pageant week, you will see what's called period gate. So there is no type of scientific proof that the McClintock phenomenon is true, or that there's any actual validity to it. But during pageant week, you will see, I'm not sure if it's the stress or if it's the pheromones from several women, young ladies being together, but you will see that a lot of women will not necessarily period sync, but some women will period sync. And also you're going to see just breakthrough bleeding and spotting a lot during pageant week. If you get close with your roommate, you'll find out that she's spotting, you're spotting, her friend up the hallway spotting, and it's really a thing. Like, everyone kind of starts spotting, so you want to prepare for that. And even if it's not the time in which you normally menstruate, you want to make sure that you prepare for it anyway. So you want to make sure that you have your liners that are going to be comfortable in whatever you're wearing, that you have sanitary napkins, that you have your tampons, and that you have everything that you would normally use to soothe yourself during that time of the month. You want to make sure you bring your heating pads, your back massager. There are pads that you can put on your tummy or your back, or just anywhere you have your pain. Analgesic pads are what they're called, and I'll try to link some below. And you want to make sure that you have all of your um, soothing gear, so that in the event that you do have some cramps or some pain or whatever else that you use, that you have it available, and that you're not asking to use someone else's Tylenol, and that may make you sick because it's not what you normally have, and you may lose your lunch, and you just don't want to go through any of that. You want to be prepared for period gate in the event that it affects you. And I wish someone would have told me that before my first pageant week. Number 4. So this one is something that will definitely be a time saver for you and for your roommate if you have one. I remember when I was competing, I had roommates, and I just remember them either not dealing with lashes at all, and they should have, because everyone needs like a little more lash when you're under bright lights, or they just struggle with their lashes. I'm pretty decent at putting on lashes. What if they didn't have me as a roommate? What if they had someone who didn't know how to put on lashes, or someone more standoffish, or someone who didn't really have time scheduled in to help someone else? Then, it's a struggle. I definitely saw where a lot of girls' lashes around the corner weren't adhered properly, and you could just any kind of off-putting error in your makeup you don't want to have the week of your pageant, because the entire time, from the moment you get there to check in, from when you're meeting your sister queens for introductions, when you have your rehearsal, when you go to breakfast together, when you go on your appearances together, you're supposed to be on. You should be full face, you should be confident, and you should be really happy about your look and able to look at anyone in the face in any light. So I really wish someone would have told me, instead of taking time to put the glue on the strip, letting it get tacky, adhere it, doing the same thing again. This is time that I could have been going over questions, reading, looking at the news. Everything isn't beauty about a pageant. A lot of it is, are you abreast on the current events? I wish, instead of doing that 2 to 3 times a day for days and days and days, I wish someone would have told me, hey, get individual lashes. If you get individual lashes, you don't have to worry about putting on your lashes during pageant week until you have prelim night and finals night. And I say that because by the time you get to prelim night and finals night, it would have been several days if you plan properly, and your lashes are going to start losing their volume, number 1. And number 2, when you're on stage, you want a heavier lash. So it's my suggestion, and I wish someone would have told me. So for instance, right now, you guys, I'm wearing a classic lash, and these are 12 millimeter. My natural lash are 10 millimeters, but I get a 12 classic lash. So I would not have worn a lash like this for pageant week. For pageant week, I would have done a 14 millimeter, and I would have done a C or a D curl. And instead of doing a classic lash, I would have done a heavier volume of a lash. So just depending on where you live would determine what that's called: mixed, hybrid, mega. But I would have done a heavier volume of a lash and a little bit longer, because as you can see right now, I'm barely wearing any makeup. I just have some concealer under my eyes, and I did like a little bit of a lippy, and I made sure I cleaned up my brows, and that's it. So I'm hardly wearing any makeup. But when you're wearing makeup for pageant week, you do want to have a heavier lash, but you don't want a lash so heavy that it's off-putting in person. So I would suggest you get a thicker lash than a classic lash, and a little bit longer than what is considered very natural looking. So 10-12 is very natural looking. So 12-14, I say about a 14 is more on par for what you would want for an in-person lash. And then if you have those already on, that cuts back on so much time in your preparation process, getting ready for just different looks throughout the day. And then also having to clean that every night and get it ready for the next day, because it does leave behind that sticky residue. And you'll only have to worry about putting on your lashes when you get ready to go out on stage. I feel like that's a game changer, and that girls really need to look into finding a lash tech in their area that they can work with during their range, so that by the time they get ready to go to their pageant week, they already have their lashes in order. They know exactly what lash. And I can do a video on eye shapes and the style of lash that you should get that complements your eye shape. For instance, I have an almond shaped eye and I wear more of a cat eye, and that's the only eye that I can do. So you want to make sure that you get with a lash tech well before your pageant week and determine, number one, if they're good at what they're doing, two, if their lashes are going to hold up, three, how long their lashes are going to hold up, so that you know how far in advance you can get your lashes done before your actual pageant week, and five, getting the proper shape and length lashes, as well as volume for your pageant week. And I feel like that's a game changer, and I wish someone would have told me that for my pageant week. Okay, so if you are still here, thank you kindly. I'm glad that I'm able to disseminate information to you that you find helpful. Please make sure to give this video a like down below, comment, and subscribe. And let's get into the number 5, the 5th most important thing that I wish someone would have told me. So this is the 5th, but it is the most important thing that I wish someone would have told me, or that I would have known going into my pageant week. Okay, so this one is huge. Okay, so had I known this, I would have planned so much for this, and I would have brought everything I needed to make sure that this did not happen. Okay, so you're getting ready for your pageant, you're doing 2-a-days, you're working with a personal trainer, you're following some type of regimen, you have a great diet, and you slimmed down, you look good, and you've built up your muscle, which is the most important part. So you've built up your muscle so that when you're on stage and that light hits you, you see all that definition. If you're working with a trainer, they have got you on a regimen where the week before your pageant, you're shedding down all that water, and your cheekbones are just showing, and your skin is glowing, and you're looking good, and you've been fitted to get into your garments all week, and that's a particular size, and everything's going good. And you don't think about the fact that you've been doing 2-a-days, you've been lifting weights, your metabolism is through the roof, honey. My metabolism was insane. It was great. And that's fine when you're slimming down, but what happens during pageant week? And during pageant week, you're not at home, you're not preparing your own meals, you may not have your protein, your peanut butter, and you get there, and the first night you're there, they take you to this lovely Italian place where all they have is casseroles and spaghetti and meatballs, and those aren't necessarily things that you want to eat, because you don't want that bloat in your waistline before you see your judges. And you may just get some fish and some vegetables or something to compensate for it. And you are going on appearances, y'all are going to theme parks, you're going to local organizations, and you're running workshops, and you're teaching confidence and self-esteem and how to walk. And you're also you're up from 5 in the morning till 10 at night, and all day you're walking back and forth, and you're getting ready for your stage presentation and putting together a show and learning your dance routine. And guess what? You lose weight. No one told me that pageant week you lose weight. Had I known that pageant week was going to cause me to lose weight, I would have prepared. And there's so many things that you can bring to kind of supplement for the food that you normally get, so that you still get your caloric intake. Because if let's say you're in school and you exercise once or twice a day getting ready for your pageant, or you work, or you're a mom, it is no comparison to the amount of walking and walking back and forth and dancing that you're going to do all week, you may possibly lose weight. I lost weight when, for instance, when I showed up for my Florida USA pageant. Take into consideration I'm 5'9" and I have a heavier bone structure. So when I showed up, I was about 136 pounds, and that was shredded. I had lost my water weight, and you could see my muscles, and I look really good. And I was like right at my competition weight, about 136, 137. I'd say about 136. By the time I had gotten back home, so after pageant week and maybe like a weekend, and I drove back home, I had lost 7 pounds. I had made it into the 120s. And you guys, when I saw my pictures, I was much too thin. I went from right at where I needed to be to underweight. I was underweight for my competition. The breast tissue I had was completely gone. You're gonna lose breast tissue. That's another thing. If you're slimming down, especially if you're losing your water weight, if you're doing any kind of intense, as a woman, when you start losing body fat, that will go. So I had lost a lot of breast tissue. My cheekbones went from to, again, it was too dramatic, and it was no way that I could have represented the state, that I could have gone to USA in that state. I was ready, not for Bench USA, I was ready for an intervention. I had lost too much weight, and it was just because I did not have the normal food that I normally ate. And I wish somebody would have told me to bring my Boost, to bring Ensure Plus, to bring peanut butter, to bring, there are things you can bring so that you can still make your smoothies. You can bring your whey protein, your marine collagen, your peanut butter. You can you can arrange to have a refrigerator in your room. If the room did not come with a refrigerator, you can bring that and work that out with your sister queen so that you guys could possibly share. If she'd like to share with you, that would be great too. And you can bring, if you don't have a blender for a cup, you can go to your Walmart, you can go online. I'll make sure that I link below a blender cup that I've used before, but you could bring your blender cup so that you could blend your protein and your high caloric food and vegetables and take that with you when you go down to rehearsal. Also, it's the issue with water intake. When you are at your pageant week, every room you walk into, someone isn't handing you a bottle of water. Here's your water. Here's your water. So you want to plan to bring multiple bottles so that you don't have to, oh, I have to find a way to wash this. You want to make sure that you bring multiple bottles so that every day you can fill up your water bottle and you're making sure that you get your water during the day. Because that was another thing. I lost a lot of water weight because I just wasn't taking in the amount of water that I was depleting. I wasn't taking in nearly the amount of water that I usually would consume on a day-to-day basis. And it showed on stage, and it's happened multiple times, but the very first time was absolutely the most severe because I was just 100% unaware and unprepared. If, let's say, you have a pageant coach, you can't put everything on them because guess what? They have a different body type than you. So if they were a competitor before, let's say their issue is more keeping weight off. They may have a totally different build. They may be from a totally different part of the world. So things may not have affected them that way at all. And they may not have competed at all. What if your fitness instructor is a man? And what if your pageant coach has 100 girls all over the country and you're just not aware, and it never came up in conversation, or maybe they thought it came up in conversation, but because they talked to so many people, it's just something that they had not discussed with you. That is my number one. I wish I would have known. I wish someone would have told me so that I would have been prepared for it, so that I would have packed a separate little small suitcase for that specifically, because that is a make or break for you during your competition. I think my neighbors are moving around. But yeah. So you guys, that is my top 5. I wish I would have known for my first pageant week, for my first competition, going away for long periods of time. Let me know if any of those suggestions are helpful to you. If you've gone to pageant week, are these things that you wish you would have known, or are there other things that you came across that maybe you wish you would have known? When I was competing in pageants, I was heavily coached, so there were a lot of things that I just already known, but these are the things that I just didn't know, even after coaching, even after having a runway coach, after having an interview coach, after having someone to help me shop, after having fitness instructors as well. These are things that I still just did not know. So let me know, what are the things that you guys are interested in. As I said, I'm definitely going to do a series. I have a plethora of information that I just want to get out there into the universe so that I can help the next girl as much as I can. But let me know, what are the things that you're curious about, the things that aren't being covered that you wish were covered, and what type of experience and what pageants you guys are getting ready to go into. And if you don't know what kind of pageant you're going into, and you're just here, just drop a, hey girl, I'm just here, and this is Her World KK, and I'm KK, and I hope this was helpful. I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Like, comment, and subscribe to join the track and see more videos like this from me, Her World KK.